Welcome back to a fantastic day of fun in my channel. So today, you guys may be asking, what am I here for this time? But if you guys like cringe with me story times and you are getting ready for work, for school, for anything, stay here, stay tuned. You don't have to look at me. I'm just here for the background noise, okay? Alright, so this story is gonna be very close to home because this was like middle school. When this happened, I was in the 8th grade. And so I was in my advisory class, and the way that our classes worked, I may have explained it in a few other videos, but the way that our classes worked was that we had advisory and then SFA and then our other regular classes. So we had in total either 7 or 8 classes. I don't remember the exact number, but I'm pretty sure it was 7, and for some students it was 8. But anyways, so I was in my very first class of the day, and it was advisory. Like for advisory, we had these like assignments we had to do, which was like, oh, like write about your career and write what you want to do. Like, you know, it was supposed to help us figure out our careers. So by the time we got into high school, we'd already know what type of career we wanted. So what ended up happening was that we had this assignment for that class, and it was like involving this like it was like this construction paper-ish type of paper, and it was blue. That's all I remember. It was a blue piece of paper. And so we were supposed to write down on that piece of paper and like cut it out or something, our like goals for like college. And so I did what we were supposed to be doing. I was assigned that, right? And so I've never been the luckiest person with like these type of items. Like, I don't know, I just don't have that type of luck. I've honestly just never had that type of freaking luck. So I ended up cutting this paper, and as I'm cutting the corner of the paper, like just, you know, like that corner, like a corner like this, just cutting it, and as I cut it, I guess it's, you know, construction paper, sometimes it's just a little hard, and when you cut stuff flies up. So when I cut it, I like snipped it, and then next thing I know, a piece of blue triangular shaped paper, to be exact, flew right into my eye, okay? Now, I don't know how this happened, and I have the slowest reflexes in the world. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I have the slowest reflexes ever. So what ended up happening was that the piece of triangular blue construction paper flew into my eyeball. And so at this point, the girl sitting right in front of me was like, did that just happen? And she's just like sitting there, and we're both looking at each other, and like my eye starts burning. Like I feel this burning sensation, and I'm just like, oh my god, like it hurts, okay? You know when you have an eyelash that stabs you in the eye? That's what it felt like, but bigger, okay? It felt like I cut my eye. That's the exact feeling I had. So, fun fact about my school did not have a nurse, okay? You'd expect it, like for a middle school, out of all schools, like out of all grades, to have a nurse. And this was like a private school, so I don't even know why they didn't have a nurse. Like, you guys really pride yourselves on like safety and education, but where is your nurse, okay? Where is she? Like, where is your nurse, okay? Where is your nurse facility? Because the paper in the eye could have been avoided real quick. Like this whole other story. But let me just continue to tell you guys what happened. So since there was no nurse, I like somewhere in my head I was like, okay, like I'll just take it out of my eye. And so I tell my friend, like the assignment starts finishing, so I tell her to turn it in for me, and she turns it in for me. And at this point, I haven't registered in my head to ask the teacher to freaking let me go to the nurse's office. Well, not to the nurse's office, but at least to go to the bathroom to like clean out my eye. And somehow in my like head, I think it's gonna miraculously come out of my eye and I'm gonna be fine. And I was wrong. So what ended up happening was that the bell rings, I grab my stuff, and I'm like covering my eye because I don't want people to look at me, because if they look in my eye, they're gonna see I have a blue piece of construction paper in my eye. They're gonna be like, girl, why do you have a blue piece of construction paper? And I'm gonna be like, it's for aesthetic. No, obviously I'm not gonna be, it's like for aesthetic. So I end up going to my SFA classroom, because remember, this was advisory and I've gone to SFA. The advisory teacher didn't notice that someone got a piece of paper stuck in their eye. And so now I'm in SFA and I'm waiting for the class to begin. And so the girl who sits either, I don't know if she sat right across from me or right next to me, saw what was wrong because I was covering my eye. She's like, why are you covering your eye? Are you crying? And I was like, no, I'm not crying. I was like, I have a piece of paper in my eye. I was like, do you have a mirror? And so she didn't have a mirror either. And I'm like, holy crap. And she looks at my eye and she's like, why do you have a piece of paper? And I'm like, it's a long story. So then I wait for the bell to ring, and I think there was either a designated waiting time or someone had gone to the bathroom. And so it took me like a good minute to ask the teacher to go to the bathroom. And while this is happening, I'm like trying to like touch my eye. I'm like rubbing it. I'm like, my eye is just red. Like it feels like I cut my eye, and I could feel it moving around my eye too. So I'm like, oh my god, I hope it doesn't get stuck in the back of my head, you know? Can eyes go all the way to the back of my head? Pretty sure I can. I don't know. So I end up telling the teacher, I'm like, hey sir, can I go to the bathroom? But I did not tell him I had a piece of paper stuck in my eye. You see where this is going? If we had a nurse, I could have gone to her like place, because I know many places have like a eye wash thingy. Like I know my high school had the shower in case you got chemicals on you, and the eye rinse thingy. So let's continue on with the story. So I go to the bathroom, and like the lady's signing me, and she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, I got a piece of paper stuck in my eye. And she's like, go in. And so I go in, and I'm like using water, and I'm like using my hand to put water into my eye, and it's not working. And so what I decided to do is that like they didn't even have soap. That's the worst thing. Like I would try to pump for the soap, and there was no soap. So I got my bare finger, and thank God I used to bite my nails, because with these long kitties I would have never been able to touch my eye without scratching my eye. So I use my bare finger, and I start swiping, and I like look that way, and then I swipe like that, and like I was able to take the piece of paper out of my eye. And honestly, it was just the most painful thing in the world. Like I would never, ever, ever wish a paper in someone's eye, even if I hated them, because it's the worst experience ever, especially when you don't have a professional to tell you like, okay, like we're gonna rinse your eye out. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, why did my school have a nurse facility? Like, we could have, like, saved so much time just with that. And, like, the rest of the day, my eye was burning, my eye was hurting, and once I got home, like, my mom gave me eye drops, and, like, that was it. Luckily, it didn't hit the, like, cornea. I believe it's the cornea. I forgot the name of that part of the eye. But luckily, I didn't lose my eye, because if you scratch, there's a certain part of your eye that if you scratch, it will scar. Like, it'll heal, but it will scar, and the scar will leave, like, a blurry mark, and you won't be able to see well from that eye. So yeah, anyways, second story, since we're getting into terms of things that happen at my school, I'm gonna be talking about the time that there was a lockdown. Now, I have a bad reputation with school lockdowns, and it's just, I can't. I don't know what happens to me when there's lockdowns. I'm just a stupid, yeah. So anyways, I'm gonna be talking about the time that there was a lockdown at that same school. Like, oh my god, what is a coincidence? So let's begin. So this was the time that I was, I believe, in 7th grade. I want to say I was in 7th grade. And so we had, obviously I'm gonna go back to our schedule. We had advisory SFA, and then after SFA we had one more class. So then we had lunch right in the middle, right? And after having lunch in the middle, we had 2 more classes, a break in between, and then our last period, which is period 4, because we had 7 classes. So what ended up happening was that when we were on our second to last break, I had PE after that. So for our second to last break, we were doing something like, I don't know what it was. I was just chilling, right? And I was chilling with my friends, and then all of a sudden, we get told that there is a lockdown, and I believe the PE teacher was like screaming that there was a lockdown going to the classrooms, and I don't know why it registered for me to run to my next period class rather than to run to the building right behind me, because there was a building right behind me. I'll leave a small little map of exactly where I was and where I ran to, so you guys can tell how much of a dumb I was, okay? So I was with my friends too, and they started screaming that there's a lockdown, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, oh my god, there's a shooter, they're gonna shoot us all. I don't know why that was the first thing to click into my head, but it just clicked. So I run, and I'm running, and there was a couple right in front of me who was hugging, or they were either making out or hugging, and there was like teachers with their doors open. They're like, get inside, get inside, get inside. And so I'm an IEP student, and so I knew where that building was. I don't know why I didn't run in there either. So they're like, get inside, students, don't go outside, get inside, get inside. And they're like closing their doors and all that. And there's this couple, and I decide to think I'm gonna just run over the rocks, because we have like little rock decorations. Why do you have rock decorations at a middle school? First of all, it's a middle school. I don't understand high school because like my high school didn't allow us to go on the field and all that. We were just supposed to be in our designated cafeteria, or some kids went to the gym to play basketball, but that was it. And so I think of jumping into where the rocks are and then jumping over because that couple's in the way. Well, to my luck, I'm running. And the teacher from the IEP classroom is standing out, like telling people to go inside. And so the girl who was making out with the guy steps back when I'm jumping over. So she trips me and I like fall at a weird random angle to the point where I scratch my cheek. Where I like fall on my knees and on my hands and I just slide. Like I just slid like across the floor really beautifully. And so it was so bad that everyone who was running and rushing around stopped and looked at me and they were like, oh my god. And I'm just there like, I just freaking fell in front of everyone. And the IEP teacher looks at me and he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. And then I got so embarrassed when my face got hot. I just like stood up and like I dashed to my classroom, to my PE classroom where we were supposed to change. And I was just like, oh my god, I really just fell in front of everybody. And like the worst thing is that like my friends didn't even bother to tell me like, oh, like we're gonna go into this classroom. We're like, oh, like why? So anyways, that was that story. And like I still got asked the day after by the IEP teacher. He was like, are you okay? Like I saw you fall. He's like, that looked like it hurt. And I still had like my whole hand for that whole week. I had like scratches all over my hand. And I was just like, I can't live it down. Don't remind me of that moment in my life. It was just embarrassing. And the worst thing is that my crush was also standing there. Oh my god, that was just, you guys got all the way up to here. I am so thankful that you guys are here. I'm sorry I don't have any like good sassy stories. I promise I'll have next up more sassy stories. I definitely have a good sassy story, but that will be for next time because I need to just brainstorm and like try to figure out if I have any other sassy stories. So I'm just gonna tell that story. I still haven't figured it out. But if you guys got up to this point, I want to say thank you for watching my video. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.